Rewards galore. In the past 25 years, the Institute has conferred several rewards on me. Some people call it severe penalties. Some directors even tried to strangulate academic, perhaps inadvertently, sometimes on advice of anxious professors who were less keen to promote academic than politics. But I don't take it that way, for if it was so, how did I last here for 25 years? The first faculty member to achieve the feat. In any case, the so-called penalties did not pain or deter me from academic path. What pains me, however, is the Institute missed so many wonderful opportunities, told Dr. Ahimans Chatterjee to a friend, reminiscing his 25 years journey at the Institute. Phase 1. The first 3 years. Dr. Chatterjee was working in a public sector company, conducting senior executive training, in-house consulting, introducing new concepts like quality circles, and tools like computer, which was a new thing in companies in early 80s. He was selected in the first lot of faculty. However, since he was offered associate professorship in the pay scale of Rs 1,500 to 2,000, while he was already in a higher scale of Rs 1,800 to 2,250 in the company with various perquisites, the salary offered by the Institute was coming to almost half, which he could not afford. A year later, the company agreed to relieve him on deputation at the request of the Institute, provided the Institute allowed him up to 3 months to do assignments in the company, like setting computer center for training and computer training for officers and executives, which the Institute agreed. The company agreed to bear the difference in salary, and he was relieved on deputation to the Institute for 2 years on 31st December at 5 p.m. He took the first train at 8 p.m. and after 42 hours journey reported on duty at 9 a.m. on 2nd January 1986. He started preparing for a course from scratch, as the first batch of PGP was going to be in second year in 6 months. There were few books in the library, but no other course material for his subject. He was to teach 3 different courses of 3 different disciplines in the 3 different terms, that is term 4, 5, and 6. The first course was compulsory, but the 2 others were elective ones and had highest subscription by the Institute in respective disciplines. In the summer, he was to do 4 computer training programs in the company. In term break period, he also conducted MDPs like others. He too had to shoulder the test center coordination and interviews for PGP admission. No faculty member had taught 3 different courses. Indeed, many did not teach even one. No faculty in any similar institutes had taught 3 courses in 3 different areas in 20 years of management education in the country. Above all, he was asked to engage in case writing, no other person was asked to do so, and assumed Sunday responsibilities like guiding students' project, convocation, and a bit of project management here and there. Besides that, he was also made the first chairman placement. There were no telephones, no guest house or institute transport facilities available for the purpose. We were able to place all the students in 12 days when all other leading institutions were keeping 1 to 3 months for getting the students placed, even if it meant disturbing the classes of the last term, which we refused to do, said Dr. Chatterjee. Since the director had told him at the time of selection that the basic hitch in offering him full professorship was that he did not have teaching experience, after 1 year he asked the director whether he had any more reservations in Dr. Chatterjee's teaching and other abilities in view of the overall workload and the feedback he got from his students. He was asked to apply again, and in the next round of faculty selection, he was selected as full professor, being the only one out of 4 who appeared, 1 each from different areas who had applied. The first reward followed. While appointing him as professor, his normal increment was deferred by 8 months from January to August, the month he was promoted as professor. His salary was also not fixed as per the rules applicable for absorption at the end of the deputation period. The penalty was not to be only for the period of 23 years he served the institute thereafter, but for the whole life, even in his post-retirement period, as he retired just 1 increment short of the top of the grade in professor's scale. The increment would have been due on 1st July, just a day after his retirement on 30th June of the year. If the increment date was kept at January, he would have got 1 increment in July of previous year, and his pension would have been fixed accordingly. The other rewards, besides promotion, was a plaque presented by the first graduating batch that mentioned achievement is not to be measured so much in terms of material position to which one has reached, but in terms of number of hurdles he has overcome in trying to do so. The gift remains cherished possession for him and has been a guiding factor for rest 25 years of journey, said Dr. Chatterjee. Life continued, phase 2, the next 3 years. Life continued like that till the new director joined. Prior to joining the institute, she was head of a management school of a century-old reputed university. She pushed him to assume responsibility of PGP chairmanship, to see through 3.5 times rise in the PGP intake, achieving the feat in the 5th year for which other similar institutions took 8 to 15 years, said Dr. Chatterjee. Partly it was due to detailed work that he had done in developing a perspective plan for the institute about a year ago. We had to face as many as 10 daunting tasks. See the case, fun of case writing B. However, we were able to do it, he said. Besides teaching 5 courses alongside PGP chairmanship, he also had to bear administrative responsibilities as earlier. He also continued to engage in case writing, which was given importance of a research work, and a special request was made by the faculty council for that, and other course material development. Several innovative practices were introduced by him. He was also requested to assist in campus construction work. Several rewards followed. His salary after pay revision was fixed in a way that he started drawing 2 increments less than the professor who was drawing 3 increments less than him before pay revision. She also changed the rules to deny him honorarium for a sponsored training program for which he had realized full payment. The other faculty members who conducted similar programs but did not realize full payment got the honorarium. The third award she gave was denying him visit to a European institution under exchange program despite being selected by host institution. Perhaps because she was unhappy with me due to my refusal to complain to her against Chief Administrative Officer to let the latter services be terminated, said Dr. Chatterjee. The dream of starting a management center for developing countries, even before SARC was formed, was also shattered by her. Working 8 to 20 hours for the whole year damaged his metabolic system, and one day he literally collapsed and was confined to bed for a week. Phase 3, the next 2 years. The next 2 years were quite tense, but academically more rewarding. A new acting director, who had been an officer in the state government, including a short tenure as IAS officer, joined the institute. He agreed to my request of not being laden with any academic administration responsibility, said Dr. Chatterjee. This helped in devoting to academics full-time. Thus, despite being away for 9 months during the 2 years period, he was able to teach 9 PGP courses and finish an exciting 3-part case study of mergers during his visit abroad. Its teaching note turned out to be a research paper and was presented in a special session designed for the purpose in an important national conference. He also presented the case study in an international conference. Over and above this, he designed and launched the first MDP and PGP course in the country on mergers and acquisitions. He also organized the first follow-up roundtable meet with other sister leading institutions. All of them were first initiatives at the institute. New, innovative practices in reducing the size and thus the cost of course material were also introduced by him. 2 week-long sponsored MDPs were conducted on campus for the first time by him. However, the proposal to set up a Euro-India Management Center with Euro 3 million funding was scuttled. He was also not allowed to launch PGP course in the 92-93 period on a technical ground that he was not present in the area meeting to approve the course outline. He was physically in Europe, sent by the institute under the European Exchange Program. His colleague, his college-going daughter, who was eldest of the children in the campus, was also denied institute transport for being dropped and picked up from college on way from his schools of the children on the pretext that institute transport can be given only for school-going children, although there was no public transport to city, which was 12 kilometers away. Even attendants' children were not given this kind of treatment, said Dr. Chatterjee. He was also denied the opportunity to choose the newly built houses when we shifted to campus by putting the last date for application just a day before his return from Europe, where he was sent by the institute. It pinched, Dr. Chatterjee said, as I was the only faculty who had helped the previous director in expeditiously completing phase 1 of the campus construction, including housing. He said, "You don't expect a house of your choice when you are humiliated by being asked to accept a smaller table of assistants because your table could not enter the office room. How similar tables of other professors could enter similar rooms, or even my table could enter the same room just a day before the day newly appointed regular director took charge is a different story," said Dr. Chatterjee. Phase 4, the next 5 years. The period was a mixed bag for the institute as well as for him. The new director came from an IIT, which have well laid out systems, policies, and procedures for running the affairs, along with a joint consultative council. At times, he found a little difficulty in appreciating the entire spectrum of academic activities of a management institute. He also faced problems in pushing development of infrastructure and policies and rules for new initiatives, said Dr. Chatterjee. On the flip side of it, the first year was perhaps the best year for him academically. He taught 6 PGP courses, a record among similar institutions, could conduct 5 MDPs, of which 2 were week-long sponsored programs and 3 open programs, 1 week long and 2 3 days. The income generated by MDP itself covered total salary paid to him by the institute. He also presented 2 major research papers in closing seminar of Euro-India exchange program. Responding to the institute board decision, he also engaged in the case material development, in which 40 students out of 84 joined him, a marathon exercise first of its kind. The first 3 days MDP on strategic management was also organized by him to conduct trial runs of the cases prepared. This culminated in the first case series of the institute. 2 research papers also came out of the experience of students' case writing. This peak academic performance, which no faculty member has ever been able to emulate, faced commensurate rewards. The director refused to bear the cost of xeroxing and binding the first case series of the institute. Dr. Chatterjee had to conduct first open MDP on strategic management to generate surplus to get the copies made. It's a different matter that all the copies remained locked in director's cupboard. Neither the companies nor the students who wrote the case got a copy, and none of those connected with it were seen in the photograph with Honorable Minister of HRD releasing the first case series. The director scuttled the first collaborative research project with European and Indian institutions. The director did not allow even the payment of travel expenses out of $1,000 sanctioned by external agencies for Dr. Chatterjee, even though the reimbursement was claimed and realized towards the first international collaborative research work with 4 leading management institutions of UK, France, Spain, and Netherlands. Shocking, isn't it? Asked Dr. Chatterjee. But by now, I was accustomed to pay the price for academics and institution building, said Dr. Chatterjee. The denial of transport to my daughter continued. She suffered the pain and agony, and one day she drained out badly and fell sick, bringing down my academic performance to 1/3. This was perhaps because I had done maximum that year academically, which was not to be tolerated by my young colleagues who were in charge of transport services, said he. He was even refused permission to publish a case book in which some cases were those prepared by students whom Dr. Chatterjee had promised to publish, if possible, on the pretext that all the cases prepared by him were institute property. Not all the cases were prepared during Dr. Chatterjee's service at the institute is a different matter. The director also did not permit registered office of the only professional body in the country floated by Dr. Chatterjee for furthering the cause of strategic management education. He was so upset with the first conference